News coming in, Reliance Jio has just launched a new phone, the cheapest internet-enabled phone in the Indian market, and it will cost less than 1,000 rupees at 999. Some of the features before we go across to our guests and my colleague Shibani Garath will get you a full review of the phone as well. This phone will have a 30% cheaper monthly plan and will have 7 times more data compared to feature phone offerings of other operators in this segment. You'll also have a 123 rupees per month plan for unlimited voice calls and 14 GB data, and this in comparison to other operators who offer a 179 rupee plan for voice calls and 2 GB data as well. They're calling it the Jio Bharat phone platform, and they want to really win the market and grab 40% of the share as far as the 4G phone market goes, and most of the phones in this category are above 1,000 rupees. So this is Jio's offering for a segment which wants to go for a 999 rupee phone. So this is the cheapest internet-enabled phone in the market. Let me go across to my colleague Shibani Garath. Shibani, you have been speaking to different analysts. You have been reviewing the phone as well. What more can you tell us at this juncture?
So this phone, which is, I have it in my hand right now, it essentially accelerates Reliance Jio's 2G Mukt Bharat vision. So it's called Jio Bharat. It has a compact form factor, as you can see. It comes with a removable battery. All you need to do is just, the battery comes in the box. All you need to do is put in the battery in the device and a Jio SIM. So it is a Jio SIM locked device, and you can simply start using the device. The feature phones available in the India market right now are all 1,000 rupees and above, and as you rightly mentioned, the pack starts at 123 rupees for 28 days, which gives you 14 GB of internet, which is fabulous. So all you can do is access internet on the device. There are pre-installed apps. As soon as you start the device, you will see that there are 3 pre-installed Jio apps that you get with it. One is Jio Cinema, that gives you access to content across movies, shows, sports, and like truckloads of content that you can watch on the device. Then there is Jio Savan, which gives you access to over 8 crore songs that you can listen to. Along with that, there is Jio Pay for digital payments that you can do to anyone and everyone. Then let me tell you, it also has a torch and radio as well, which doesn't require a wire to connect. So you can listen to radio, you can use the torch, a very good feature, let me tell you, in that you can use in remote areas. As I mentioned earlier, it comes with a 1000 mAh of battery, will easily last on single charge, even if you do not have access to electricity. It can easily charge and give you a good decent battery life for a very, very long time. So these are some of the features that you get with the phone. Along with that, it also has a 0.3 megapixel of camera to take your pictures and stuff like that. So all of this is possible on the device. It starts at 999 rupees, which is fabulous. So anyone who wants to transition from, let's say, a 2G to 4G, this is a great device, to transition. It's affordable. The affordability aspect of it is important to mention over here, because the packs and then the device at this kind of pricing is very rare to find in the India market, and most large chunk of consumer is, especially in the rural areas, in remote areas, still use feature devices with access to only 2G. So this is an affordable device that gives you access to Jio network, 4G network, and you can plus get access to all of these fabulous Jio apps that come pre-installed with the device. Parikshit.
Right, so lots there to offer, helping consumers who are in the 2G segment upgrade to 4G phones as well. In fact, Reliance Jio is saying that the addressable market is at least 250 million people, and they're targeting at least 100 million users, or 40% market share in this segment. So lots really riding on this phone for Reliance Jio, and as Shibani was pointing out, it's really been packed with features Akash Ambani, Chairman Reliance Jio, has commented saying there are 250 million mobile phone users in India who remain trapped in the 2G era and unable to tap into basic features of the internet at a time when the world stands at the cusp of a 5G revolution as well. Remember, there's been a lot of speculation about Reliance Jio bringing a really low-cost 5G phone as well. So we're waiting for that. But for the moment, this is an upgrade that they're offering to customers who want to move from 2G to 4G at the lowest possible price point. And you've got Jio Cinema, Jio Saavn, and Jio Pay. So you'll be able to make UPI payments through this phone as well. So lots on offer. Let me go across to guests right now. Varun Mishra of Counterpoint Research. Devain Choksi is also with us, and so is Roshan Namija. Varun, if I may come to you at this point right now, give us a sense of how big is this segment, which is around 1,000 to 2,000 rupees, and Reliance Jio now bringing an offering packed with so many features at a price point lower than 1,000. How does this really augur well for the market and for the brand?
Hi, thank you for having me on the show. So yes, currently, as stated correctly, there are around 300 million feature phone users in India. So those are the users which are using their 2G mobile phones. And the transition is not happening very, very quickly. In terms of market, there has been a gap with increasing prices, increasing component prices. There has been a gap in the market in terms of a quality low cost smartphones. On the side of consumers as well, which use a 2G feature phone, right? Mostly in rural areas. There is some sort of resistance in moving directly to the smartphone, be it the learning curve, be it the overall cost of ownership or the repair cost of a smartphone. Hence, this device at 999 rupees can kind of sit in the middle of a 2G feature phone and a 4G smartphone and help those users to come from 2G to 4G and help Jio leverage their services ecosystem as well. So from Jio's point of view, it is not just about device, right? It is one of the most unique operators in the world. It controls right from connectivity to commerce to cloud. And it is this bundle which Jio wants to monetize and not just the connectivity part of it. So this will help those users to get a sense of Jio's services, go from 2G to 4G, and then eventually move to the smartphone segment as well.
Right. Thanks for those opening remarks, Varun. Please stay with us. Let me go across to Nikhil Pawar right now. Nikhil, a lot of features here for $999. How do you think this compares with other phones in the market in this segment? You've got unlimited HD voice. You've got Jio Cinema movies. You can watch several music videos and shows like Big Boss, comedy shows as well. You've got Jio Saavn with 8 crore plus songs, UPI payments, a digital camera. You can share pics via Bluetooth. How do you think the entire package compares to other phones in this segment?
Well, I think there's been a need to shift these feature phone users to the internet for a very long time now. India's internet base is fairly restricted in the sense, if you look at it, right, there are about 150 million e-commerce consumers in India, and it's a progressive change. So, we may have 890 odd million internet connections, but that includes narrowband and broadband, and the way it happens is users start with one level of internet usage and then move to another. What Jio did with 4G initially was that it allowed most of this country to leapfrog from 2G straight to 4G. So if you look at the charts and how internet connections sort of transformed because of Jio, you would see that 2G connections dropped sharply and 4G connections grew, and even it killed 3G as well at that time. So I think what Jio is doing with this package, with this pricing, is basically throwing a challenge to the other operators, to other service providers, which have been increasing prices, saying that at one end of the user base, we're going to target the users that you've acquired or are still acquiring, and at another level we'll try and transition 2G customers, including your 2G customers, to the Jio side. And look, this is a very long-term play that the game that they're playing. We've got, it's not just going to be handsets; it's going to be services. Bundling services into the same price and replacing entertainment also makes a lot of sense. It's not as it's not been tried before. Like Airtel had Wink and its own movie services as well. So look, all of this competition is fantastic for consumers. What we were worried about was the fact that competition would actually reduce in the market. And look, even from a government's perspective, they have to look at the fact that India's internet user base has mostly been stagnating over the last few quarters. So another price war might actually help shake things up a bit.
Over to you, Varun. I'm coming back to you. What is your outlook on the 123 monthly tariff for 14 GB for 28 days? It seems cheaper than the competition right now, right?
Yeah, definitely. And with Jio, I mean, a typical user on Jio network uses 23 GB of data per month, and this is almost increased twice in the last couple of years, right? So there's a huge potential. And there is huge cross-selling opportunities for Jio as well. They have given data or the data plan cheap or the devices cheap, but that creates a segue of bringing consumers to that digital ecosystem and give them the taste of services which Jio has to offer. It has a huge ecosystem, and that is where Jio wants to play on. So yes, definitely very competitive, and we would definitely see some growth and shake up in this segment.
Devin, your take?
Well, I believe that the way in which I think this particular offer is being made, I think is going to make the balance sheet change significantly. You are addressing a total addressable market of about 40 crore phones, out of which even if you ended up cornering 25% of that market, which is 10 crore phones, applying the simple arithmetic to, I think, whatever the pricing which has been announced, 1,000 rupee of phone and about 15 rupee of yearly subscriptions or ARPU coming in, I think put together, I think is somewhere around 25,000 crores, which is the kind of a balance sheet that we are talking about, which the company is going to generate. And 50% EBITDA on the top of it is around 20,500 crores. So coming from the financial markets, I think I would talk the financial numbers. I believe that in this particular proposition, they're talking of adding 12,500 crore to EBITDA and 25,000 crore worth of revenue to their Jio platform books.
Right. Those are some strong numbers. But Rohan Dhamija, if I can get you in at this stage, bridging the digital divide is something that Reliance Jio has been speaking about, and upgrading customers who are stuck in the 2G era. But do you think this will help increase internet usage, internet penetration among consumers across the country, increase the penetration of digital payments as well? And what will it do in terms of taking up Reliance Jio's market share in this segment of phones in the range of 1,000 rupees to over 7,000 rupees?
Thanks, Parikshit. So let me come in on that. On the first part of your question, completely agree. I think this is going to increase internet penetration drastically. As my fellow panelists, Nikhil and Varun mentioned, Jio is targeting the about 250 to 300 million 2G user segment with this device and with this offer. And it's giving so much more for so much less, so much more in terms of a cheaper device, which serves the affordability issue in that segment of the market, cheaper data, and so much more data vis-a-vis the competition's offers. And then all of these content and payment apps along with it. Yeah. So it's basically serving the holy trinity of what drives internet penetration in the market. So will definitely drive up internet penetration as a lot of those 250 million non-internet users, non-mobile internet users come on to becoming internet users with this offer. On the second part of your question then, what this could do in terms of market share for Jio. Our analysis tells us, when I look at the numbers, the kind of offer that Jio has come in with this Jio Bharat device, uh, I personally feel that it'll be able to grab much more than 40% market share of this 250 to 300 million 2G market. So just in that sense, by adding about 100 to 150 million users to its already humongous user base, I think it'll have a significant positive impact on its overall market share in the industry, if that makes sense.
Right. Varun Mishra, if I can come back to you, and I'll put that question to Nikhil Pava as well. At $9.99, what Jio is saying in its press release that with a 28-day unlimited voice plan, you get 30% savings, 7 times more data, and with the annual plan, you get 25% savings on a per-day basis and 7 times more data. How do you think this will drive the adoption among consumers, and which segments of mobile phone users are going to be attracted the most to this segment, to this mobile phone and all the features and plans that it has?
Thank you for the question. So let's just kind of zoom out a little bit. So Jio has done this before also. If you remember, back in, I think, 2018, they launched the Jio phone, the KaiOS, a smart feature phone. So that was one of the key drivers of 4G adoption in India. It created a segment in its own. It was also, I mean, kind of relatively free. Now, Jio has seen there is a hunger for content consumption in India. There is a hunger for internet in India. And at a price of $9.99, this device with so many apps, so much value proposition, there's hardly any competition. The device will be most lucrative for the feature phone users. There are around 250 to 300 million feature phone users in India, which are sitting on 2G. So this can lead to a segue and adoption of 4G to those users, and in turn increasing ARPU for Jio as well. And then obviously could lead to transitioning them to the smartphone, which will be the ultimate goal, right? So yes.
Thank you. It is time for a short break, but this discussion will continue. You don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Welcome back. We still have with us Nikhil Pava of Medianama, Devin Choksi of the KR Choksi Group, Varun Mishra of Counterpoint Research, and Rohan Damija of Analysis Mason are still on with us on the show. My next question to you, Devin, is $9.99 for the price of Jio Bharat. At a pack of 1, 2, 3, what will be its impact on the competition? Will they be able to match this kind of pricing? Whether it is device makers or, companies like Airtel.
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge because that 2G pack is basically costing to consumer about 179, and I think correspondingly the announced price of Jio Bharat is 123. In my view, and along with I think a more GB of data, of course. So there is a clear-cut indication that I think this 25% gap in the price, which is there from the competition side, I think will have to get adjusted because otherwise I think these 40 crore target customers that Reliance Jio is going to be attracting, even if one assumes that only 25% of these 40 crore customers get converted in the first go in 1 year time, then also they're talking about converting 10 crore customers out of 40 crores. And with a 1,000 rupee price tag, I think we are talking about 10,000 crore worth of revenue and about 120 rupee per month or 1,500 rupee per year kind of a ARPU collection, which would be around 15,000 crore coming from the services, which means around 25,000 crore worth of revenue booked from 10 crore customer is being seen happening from this particular segment. So certainly this is a big number for even competition also. And definitely, I think they'll have to work harder for bringing down their price. So, and there's a sizable number of, I think, the 2G users are there in the country as of now, where Reliance Jio is not present. So I think that is where probably I think we see the opportunity for Reliance Jio to corner a larger amount of market share along with the subscribers.
Yeah. Over to you, Varun. So the features that are available on this device, for a person who's on 2G right now, like, there is a radio, there is Torch, there is Jio Cinema, there is Jio Pay, Jio Savan, the kind of features that this phone currently has. Those features, what is your take on the features and, what features does an average 2G user currently use?
I think giving an app ecosystem on a feature phone form factor, it works really well, especially in rural areas, especially for consumers who are not willing to directly go to the smartphone segment. So this device will act as bridging a learning curve between a feature phone and a smartphone. So a consumer, a typical feature phone consumer uses a Torch. They sometimes work in rough conditions, so they want their devices to be very, very sturdy. But in 2G, they are not able to access that app ecosystem. The UPI in India has, wherever you travel, you have online payment available, but a typical feature phone user is not able to access that. Now, Jio will provide that platform for digital inclusion while there'll be lesser effort on part of consumer as well. So I think it's a perfect mix of features as well as form factor to get those 2G users on 4G.
Right. So clearly this is, as Varun was pointing out and all our guests were pointing out, that this is a big opportunity for Reliance Jio to capture a big market share and also help many 2G customers migrate to 4G as well. But how can Jio use its network to leverage and increase the sales of this phone that it's launching in the less than 1,000 rupee range? Let me go across to Nikhil. Nikhil, how do you think Jio's network will give it an edge compared to other players in the market when it comes to distribution and sale of these phones?
So before I get to that, a couple of other points to consider, right? Handsets are an important part of the mobile internet experience. And so, you may have internet connectivity for 199 rupees a month, but if your internet handsets are going to be 5,000 rupees plus, that's a significant one-time investment for an individual. So a lower cost handset means that more and more people can access the internet, and that's where the transition is what Jio is trying to drive. The other thing is that what you find in many cases is because of the cost of internet access, the cost of handsets in particular, many devices are actually household devices, where there are multiple people in a family that are using that handset. With a lower price point for an internet-enabled device, what it means is that it'll spur on individual personal usage of the internet. The other angle is that and according to surveys done in many of these instances, women in these households get less access to these devices. So the potential for women to get their own devices and start using the internet also goes up. So essentially, from an inclusion perspective, a lower price point actually for a device really helps increase internet access. Also works well for startups, for example, in agri-tech that are particularly providing information services. But yes, the network is a critical aspect. There are still areas where 4G isn't available. Jio has got substantial 4G penetration. And, frankly, it's a toss-up between Airtel and Jio, but in a particular area, typically one particular mobile operator is dominant. So I think that investment in 4G is also required from Jio in areas where they aren't as strong as compared to the others.
Right. Those are important points, that even as you move towards a 5G era, continued investments into 4G are important. And you also spoke about collaboration with startups, with agri-tech. And this is what Reliance Jio is also saying, that they are welcoming brands across consumer retail, devices and applications to join this platform for bridging the digital divide in the country. But Devendra Choksi, if I were to come to you, right now Jio is leading the 5G rollout in the country. They are there in almost 5,500 plus cities with higher duration of times when the customer is connected to 5G as well. I would like to ask you, in the larger strategy of the group, how does this phone launch really play out? They already have two phones in the market. One is a smartphone in the range of 6,000 to 7,000 rupees. Now you've got a lowest price internet-enabled phone, which will be for 999. Very soon, as it is speculated, you'll see a 5G launch as well, which will also be priced very competitively. So how does this figure in Reliance Jio's larger strategy to win the telecom and the mobile phone market? Devendra, you've muted yourself. Could you unmute, please?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. They have 44 crore customers at this point of time. And this particular proposition of converting 2G customers into 4G customers, they're addressing the market size of 40 crore customers, out of which I think they're likely to convert 10 crore customers in 12 months' time. That is, I think, how I look at it. So obviously what you're talking about is about 25% increase in the customer. That is the first point. Second point is that converting the 25% customers and generating 25,000 crore worth of revenue, which is resulting into 12,500 crore worth of EBITDA, is basically, I think, almost about 20% of the growth in the revenue book itself from this segment, which was up till now absent in the books of the company. The third point is about the 5G. The 5G already, the conversion process has started, wherein I think the larger amount of ARPU has started generated from the existing customers who are consuming more data due to the use of 5G. And currently, I think if the ARPU is staying in the vicinity of around 180, 183, I think this could possibly move in the direction by the end of the year to around 195 or so. So from that perspective too, I think the company is likely to grow the size of the revenue and the EBITDA. All in all, put together on a summarized basis, I believe that I think on a 1 lakh crore worth of revenue book and on a 50,000 crore worth of EBITDA that this company is making, I see a clear-cut case of financial year 23-24 generating for the company at least, I think, 25 to 30% growth on the existing base, maybe slightly more, but around 30% growth is definitely seen growing. So 1 lakh crore revenue book could be 1,30,000 crore. and the EBITDA of 50,000 crore could be again correspondingly growing to around 65 to 70,000 crore. That is the range of growth that I see as far as the financial numbers are concerned.
Right. So clear growth for Reliance Jio coming from the launch of this new phone that they've brought in at the 999 price point with some compelling features and very attractive packages. So there will be a lot of competition. They are giving stiff competition to the existing players in the market, and they see this 250 million customers in the market as an addressable base, and they want to really capture 40 to 50% of the market. And as Devin was pointing out, that this is an important strategy to drive their revenue growth and overall growth in this financial year as well. We've run out of time, but we'd like to thank all our guests, Nikhil Pahwa, Varun Mishra, Devin Choksi, and Rohan Damija, my colleague Shivani Garat, for reviewing the phone and getting us all the details here on the program as well.